Welcome to our talk. Thank you for joining us.
It's great being here at WeAreDevelopers. I am developer, or I was developer, and Kyle, not developer.
Not so much.
So our topic is called From Big to Smart, and from small to smart, and you need to look really close that you get the context. So it's also a little bit of a riddle, and you know these songs when you have just one time the refrain, you think about why this chorus doesn't come up again. So it's something like that. No? So remember the quote from Mark Andreessen when he said, software is eating the world? So it was a couple of years ago, and yes, we all know that software ate the world, and it was a hell of a ride for all of us. But the question is now the world got a little bit divided. No? When you see it was divided between two groups, and one are the winners, no? And one are the others are the losers. And who are the winners? No? The winners are technology companies. The losers are people maybe that don't understand anything about technology. So the winners are people that build application, make money out of it. The losers sometimes are also the users, no? Because they don't really know anything what is going on with the data, with the applications. So they're a little bit, we oversimplified stuff on the application side, but we left them a little bit out in the cold. What's really happening with all their personality, privacy kind of stuff. And this brought us Big Data Deluxe. No? This is, we just learned about it a couple of weeks ago. So this is big data at the moment at its best. It also brought us like super happy taxi driver and people losing their job. It brought us the Joker, the guy, the dude, the president, and a bunch of clowns, the leaders. Yeah? So, and sure, it's not our fault, no? But I think we played also a big role, and you come back, you see the world is divided. You always have this 50-50 battle between left and right, no? And if you go back to my image, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And the question is, no? I mean, when I was a developer, and all of us, no, we have this, normally developers and nerds, we have this good thing, and shouldn't we be the good guys at the end, no? And yeah, I totally get it, no? We are developer, but the older I get, no? The less developer I get, I think it's good, no? And the question is it more like that we are human, no? And we should become more human again? And also the role of technology needs to be somehow reinvented, no? Because I think we should really help the society instead of just like making things more complicated. We should spread more hope than fear. And for that reason, I think software needs to empower the world, and it needs to empower the people. And what I will talk about also with Kyle, no? How technology needs to play a role. And I speak about 100% of the people, no? And period, it's stopped. No? There cannot be like the people that get it and the people that don't know it. No? The people we make money with, they don't even know what's going on in the backside. So I think we as developers have this responsibility to reinvent all our thinking and to reconsider everything. And just think about the software industry is super immature. No? We don't have standards, we don't have processes, we have pseudo standards. Everyone can do what they want. No? You can build a banking software, fine. Nobody asks you if you're qualified. No? So, but what really went wrong? No? So how we, no? And I mean we, are developer, including myself, how we fucked this up. No? And I think it's not really a fuck up, it's just like the problem is things got super complicated. No? And to be honest, we don't even know exactly anymore what we are doing. No? Just look at the frameworks in big data, you have like thousands. No? You have different categories. Even we don't know the difference. When we talk to our customers, they're totally overwhelmed with all this technology stack. And if you see, no, 90% of all the energy we spend is basically just like dealing with all the complexity. No? And I'll give you two examples. We have a lot of global banking customers, and they still spend 90% of their IT budget on running the bank. No? And they speak about innovation, fintech, blockchain, but that's not reality. No? And it's not that they're solving really complex rocket science kind of topics. No? I think they're just lost in the opportunity. No? And it's super hard for them to get out of this mess. No? Because probably the same mindset you brought you in the mess will not fix the mess. And to give you another example, just talk to a neuroscience startup. They want to find a cure for for autistic children, and basically they struggle to just handle, they call themselves data scientists, but at the end they struggle with big data infrastructure. So 90% of their money, their energy goes into this survival stream, dealing with technology. So shouldn't technology support them to build something amazing? They need data to get the insights, but we always force them to go deep and to hire some developers, and I think there needs to be a major shift in all our thinking. So the solution and what we think, and this is where our smart data idea comes in, I think there needs to be a radical simplification on the data layer, because when you really think about it, data is the expressive good. For non-coder, simplified, normalized data that you can understand, reuse across all the systems, will definitely build something smarter, and it will decouple these guys, so we don't need to just send them apps, we also can just provide them simplified data and make data usable without applications. And then probably we can, or these guys can address real world problems, not spending 90% of their time to get the insights we need, and we all know there are real life problems all around us. So I think this is smart data, and remember, this is what we came up with many years ago. So I will not make a sales show today here, but just remember it and visit us later if you want to learn more. The second problem is 90% of companies suck. We all know that. I mean, it's not on purpose too, but they suck. And I think there's also a special reason, because there's also a big complexity, too many process stuff, and at the end, you just end up in this day-to-day struggle. It's just basically it's a self-fulfilling system that you just run and run and run, and you don't even know why you do stuff. And so the corporate employee experience is clear. It's like a simulation, cyborg armies. It's like even you find some great role models here. Just ask them how it feels, and if you talk to them, think about it, even if they're here, they're like, yes, we spent $1 million in our booth, but then now we need to smash these guys with all the products we offer. They don't want to do it, believe me. Even have from big companies guys that need to present, they will say, shit, I really wanted to show something really amazing, but marketing forced us to present all this stuff. We just have 1,000 products, so it's doable in 30 minutes. That's the startup employee experience. And I'm the world champion on that. Look the guy, look his face, and think about this. These are the moments. What we are building, it's like, where do we raise money? We have no customers. We have one customer. So I always call a startup this near-death experience. It never changes. But also startups struggle. They're also ending up in this rhythm of just doing stuff. And that's what I mean. Big or small, we all need to get smarter. So I'm going to hand over for the solution, at least we offer, or we think that we provide to people, and I always call it, we want to build a company that sucks less, because work is still work, and we also cannot reduce all of these negative feelings for people, like showing up, doing something, committing something. So Kyle, please tell us a little bit.
Thank you, sir.
What we're up to.
So, excuse me, Kyle Borchardt, head of people here at Braintribe. We all understand that technology is taking over the world, but I think what's being forgotten is simply that people are behind great technology, behind great companies, and when you think about basic human decency, psychology 101, it's how do you empower the individual? So, Forrest Gump, Mr. Tom Hanks said it best, the power of the individual is as powerful as the universe is infinite. And we really try and have that theme as the underlying foundation of everything we're doing at Braintribe. And this should really be the role model for every organization, whether you're 5 people or you're 5 million people. The size does not matter. You should be able to individualize the employee experience at scale. But this is the problem, is every single organization looks at their people as just a number. They have names, they have their own interests, their own hobbies. They're unique in different ways, similar ways. But at the end of the day, you are an individual. You're a human. As Stefan said before, we are human, and I think that's what's being forgotten. You have this kind of old school big corporate mentality where, it's just about the numbers, it's just about how the P&L looks at the end of the year. Do you have happy investors? But really, do you have happy people? Because happy people, as I said, are powering that great technology. So these are some key things I think that are being forgotten within these big corporates, and even down to even small startups. It's really just about, hey, this is an individual. Let's take the time to understand what their passion is, what their interests are, and how can we curate or co-create really kind of this mission. And I'm going to talk about that and how we do that at Braintribe, and hopefully this can be an example for your organization, it can be an example for an organization that you want to join. But this is the missing piece, is like I said, we are all human people. We are all unique in our own ways, and we all have emotion, we all have feelings, and we don't want to just be micromanaged. We don't want to come into our office at 8 a.m., leave at 5, have the same monotonous routine day after day after day. You want to have excitement, you want to have innovation. So for us, it's about honing in on that individual and experiencing life through the lens of both work and personal life. Technology is blending that. So how can we adapt? And so it isn't about 8 to 5. It's how do you identify your peak times? When are you the most proficient? When are you the most effective? What type of work setup is best for you? And these are the things that need to be considered and the things that are forgotten. So what we're trying to create is not only just this awesome piece of technology, but we're also trying to create this great culture. And so for us, culture, to a lot of people it sounds very fluffy, and I think it is when you talk about it too much. It's not authentic, it's not real, and the more you talk about culture, the more you say culture, it just becomes this lost cause, words on the wall, and really kind of loses the real meaning behind it. So I think most companies feel like, hey, we have beer in the fridge, we got a pool table, we got a foosball table, sweet. Nah, not really, because it's not about that. It's really about this kind of, like I said, this authenticity, where you walk into an office and you feel it. We work with organizations. I've worked with organizations in the past where, we're helping them with their values, but they have those written on the wall. They talk about them a little bit, but it's not about talking. It's about how you behave. It's about the real actions behind those values. It's how you implement and live that every single day in your organization. So when we think about our core values being courageous, simplistic, autonomous, those three things really empower an individual. You want to have the courage to have the autonomy to say, this is what I'm going to do, this is when I'm going to work, this is how my career is going to evolve. We all are on this journey through our careers where, things change. And so to just say, this is my one role, this is my generic leadership and development program, that stuff just falls apart very, very quickly for an individual. You don't engage your people, and more than likely you're going to start losing people in large part because you can't understand who they are as an individual. And for your big corporates out there, you can do this at scale, because what you want to do is you want to put the power on the individual to tell you what they want, what they need, what's important to them. And that's really the big differentiator. So we've created this program called the Braintribe Mission Program, and it's this end-to-end program that starts from day one, the first day you enter our office. And what we do is we listen to you. Where do you see yourself going? How do you see yourself evolving? What's important to you in life? And so we put together this incubation mission where for the first 3 months, kind of the theme is come in and find out. Where do you want to go? And what do you want to find out? How can we help you? So it's more or less, we have an understanding of where you want to go, what you're going to do, what the needs are, but at the end of the day, during the interview process, more than likely you can't answer all of those questions. So come in, find out, and then from there, we put you on a 6-month mission. We do that twice a year. You have a very clear elevator pitch so you can articulate yourself to your employees, your coworkers. Everyone can have the transparency of what each and every one is doing within the organization. And then you have kind of this empowered ability to co-create what you're going to be working on during that 6-month mission. The kicker is that we give them 1 to 2 development opportunities that are, let's say, passionate or of interest to them. And so through this mission, you really have a clear focus, you have a clear outcome. It's not 1 year. You can really see the light at the end of the tunnel, and it's actionable. And again, it goes back to that individual. And then this whole exit is really about, we want to build people up. We want to have people who are excited about what they're doing. But for us, it's also about, once you leave Braintribe, what are you going to do after Braintribe? Because this isn't going to be your entire life. You probably won't retire with us. And we actually asked that in the interview process. What are you going to do after you leave Braintribe? And a lot of people are like, oh, I want to be with you forever. Well, that's not reality. So, for us, it's about supporting our people end to end, both while you're with us and even beyond. Stefan will talk a little bit later about our fire starter space, but for us, it's really about having this mission, having this purpose. And just to give you an example, I just created my mission for the next 6 months. And there's a bigger vision for me in mind where I don't want to just be the head of people. I would love to travel around the world, speak about our culture, speak about our company, our programs, and how other companies can take up this mindset and really individualize their employee experience. So for me, this is my 6-month mission. On the top, we have a few areas in the red. This is what me and my CEO have agreed to, that we really need to get more structured with some of the topics that I'm focused on. For me, I really want to start traveling a lot more, whether it's in Europe or elsewhere, and then be more naive. I think sometimes I lose sight of a few things that are important, and I kind of lose that naivety where it's important to also kind of have a fresh perspective with everything that you're doing. On the bottom is my professional mission, and this is where I'm really focused for the next 6 months. And you can kind of see the different bubble areas, the different topics. There are some OKRs behind that, but not too much. It's just about having the aligned autonomy to be able to say, this is what we agreed to, and this is what I'm going to deliver to you. And so from here, it's just about having the belief in yourself to say, I can do this. I have the confidence in myself. And I think really for us, we really empower people to have that confidence to say, I might have been doing this, but over the next 6 months, over the next year, 2, 3 years, I'm going to transform myself into this new position. Whatever that may be, we want to give you the voice and the ability to say, this is what I see myself going, this is what I want to be doing, this is where my career will evolve. So as Stefan talked about before, it's a complex world, there's data everywhere. I'm the head of people, so people data is so important to me to understand engagement, to understand the measurables about how people are performing on their missions, but it's still, there's so much complexity. So for us, it's really about how do we take this data, it's massive amounts of data, and make it smart. So with that, I'm going to pass the mic back to Stefan.
Is that the mic? Oh, then we
Sorry.
It's like Philip Sheldrake. Hi, Philip. Yeah, remember the complexity, no? And I mean, we all have this feeling. If you're a corporate employer, even if a startup, you have all these tools, no? It's like mind-blowing, no? You get attacked from 50 different channels, no? And so, I mean, think about you need to eat your own, no? And so we built on our platform, TribeFire, we built this platform, what is called TribeCell, and this is basically the 1% of data for 100% of the people, no? It sounds super trivial, but it's a huge idea, no? Because when you think about it, how should employees know what matters? No? And so, but why should you care about it? No? Because if you really give this relevant information to your people, no? It unlocks their autonomy. No? It also enables them to be aligned, no? And it also gives them full transparency. And believe me, transparency is not easy. No? Also not for the employee, because sometimes if you want to hide transparency, is not a good deal. No? Because employees always think it's a one-way street. No? But I think this is something, and at the end, you want to, speed is everything, no? Because what do developers get mostly frustrated? If they get stuck in a project forever, no? So this is basically something, and now going back to the tool, and just to show, no? So this is our TribeCell platform, you enter, we organized in tribes, so we call Braintribe the movement, so you see like, for example, on the right side, you have R&D tribe, you have different market tribes that's solving specific problems, so this is like a sub-company, no? Like a spin-off. So you can see the relevant information. You just see all the key things. So for example, this is about the Firestarter Lab. You see the revenues they need to do, where do they stand, the key documents, their mission, their objectives. No? So you can open one of these mission books, what Kyle showed you before. It's a 10-page document. No? And then you can just go back inside. You see, okay, we organized in cells. No? And as you see, a cell is basically just a team, but everything is end-to-end, no? It's not testers. We want to have full-stack teams with knowledge, no? Not full-stack developers. We want to have full-stack entrepreneurship, no? We want to also have marketing and all these things you need to build a great product, no? And when you see we have pair leading, so normally a cell has 2 leaders and has about 5 cell members, no? So you get a lot of attention because when you think about it, you have 2 leaders that focus on 5 people, no? And this is really what we think that matters, because we're not interested to grow to thousands of people. We just want to stay as small as possible, no? And want to also work with so many externals and outsource everything or co-create everything, what is not our core competence. No? And this comes from HR, legal, everything, up to core product, where we are outsourcing multiple streams. No? So if you go, your mom, if you go deeper, no, you can look at the organization, and you can also see it on different views. No? So you see the organization on the customer life cycle, you can see it on countries, and at the end, if you go deeper, no, you see the guys working in the cell, no, and you can see what these guys are doing, what are their objectives, no, what they're up to, and you can go even deeper. What Kyle said, for example, you can see this is the existing mission. You can break them down like in a graph view. No? And now, having my only technical slide, and I'm proud of that, so this is what we do. No? Because think about all we showed you now, probably you're going to need to touch 20 applications to do that. No? And I don't talk about replacing this 20 application. No? I'm talking about leave these applications to the specialist. No? Kyle works with Greenhouse for hiring, but everyone needs the data. What are the open job profiles? No? And this relevance of data, no? For, like I said, it's 1% of 100% of the people will make the difference for you as a startup, but also for an enterprise. No? And it's a big change of belief, because when you see like this data platform we built, we see it like this smart data platform sitting on top of the infrastructure. No? So basically decoupling the semantic, decouple the business logic, make it available to others. No? Datapedia is basically the marketplace for all these platform assets. But sure, just keep the things rolling. No? Because I really struggle with the thing that data is part of the infrastructure. No? And that's so wrong with big data. No? Because if you just copy shit from A to B, it will not get better. And the more you copy, the more redundancies you get. And this is the main problem. No? So if you want to find out more, just come to see us at our booth. And that's basically where you understand now what I meant with speak to smart. No? And because at the end, a smart organization is built on smart data. It doesn't mean if you're one guy or like hundreds or 100,000. No? And just a smart organization unlocks smart people. No? And smart people are more than developers. No? Because believe me, 20 years ago, I was just also like a pure coder. Me and Peter, my CTO, no, we're just coding, understanding shit. No? But believe me, it's so interesting when you leave this concept of full stack developer and think about becoming full stack as like an entrepreneur. No? That we have this entrepreneurial culture because developers should be interested, have communities, should go out, should understanding marketing, they should be great storytellers. No? And I know this is probably not 90% of the guys like to be in the struggle. No? If you go to the big software companies, this complexity is their business model. No? It's great when you can ship 1,000 guys who need to clean up the shitty product you built. No? But if you really want to change and be transformed, as an organization, you really need to rethink everything. No? And just when data and people connect through a smart organization, and it's necessary. No? There is not just a great culture or just a great organization, and you have no data. No? And so this is basically what we're up to. Just talking a little bit, these are our R&D hubs. So we have Belgrade, Vienna. So we're just ramping up Belgrade. So we are nearly 100 people now globally. But Belgrade is our main focus. Vienna is our biggest hub at the moment. But we are planning now, we have a couple of people in Bratislava and Sofia. So if you're of these hubs and they're interesting to work with us, no? Or co-create with us, because like I said, you don't need to be on our payroll to be in Braintribe, no? Because we make no difference between people that work for us or people we co-create with. No? So for that reason, we opened up this MVP in Austria. It's called the Firestarter Space. It's basically this co-creation environment. We're going to ramp this up to about 300 people. No? As you can rent desk, there are hundreds of events around deep tech and digital, this intersection. And you can find us today. But you can also come to this opening day, what is June 1st, I think. Yeah? So it's basically 5 p.m. We have this open house. I mean, you can stop by any time, no? Because it should be this open house. Full-blown launch will be in October. And yeah, we're definitely looking forward to seeing you guys there. And yeah, we are happy to answer some questions if there are. Thank you, guys.
Round of applause. Round of applause. I'm pretty excited about this. I have a lot of questions. Get your questions into the app now. If you still have questions, type them down. Do you want to hit that first?
Question, yeah?
Yeah, go.
How to convince management that this is the right way to go?
If you leave the room quiet, please. There's another guy coming.
Yeah.
Let the guys talk.
But I think it's more like with us, not thinking about for us, sales and management are features, not functions. I would just say rethink what management is. No? Just kill the term management and focus more on leadership. No? So I think it's hard for an employee to do, but I think you need to find some peers in management that are more leaders that help you to, no, you need to find your early adopters at the end. No?
I would just add to that quickly that, one way to go about this is, identify a small team that has someone who's really interested in this, and think about doing an MVP where you have a small batch of people, you do this for 6 months, you show the data. And I would be willing to bet that that data would be more than influential in talking to your management. But really, like Stefan said, it's not about managing anything, it's about being a leader.
Yeah. And
Do you see, well, my favorite word on the whole thing was culture. And I know it's something which is inherent to everything you've done as developers, but you're not developers, right?
I was a developer, no?
Sure,
But it's like I said,
this is something very different. How does that then react to the products, the customers, to the actual user cases?
I mean, to
How
be
do
honest,
they react?
but we also struggled to this transformation because we have been a pure tech shop. Not 3 years ago, we have been the same like any other company, but I just found out that I'm bored and I wanted to change the company. No? So I think we just see it, no? But when you involve the customer and everything, the community in building product, the product becomes better. No?
Yeah.
Then you're just doing this autistic kind of, you know what you need to build because you never know what the market needs and you never know what is good. No? So I think this is...
I fully agree. I mean, I've worked a lot on motivation, and motivation is also a lot about autonomy, quality, feedback, and purpose. Do you see that people actually act differently? I would imagine that development is something which is very rigid in the old school way of doing it. Do people work differently?
No, I don't think. Developers are still the hardest nuts to crack. No, even for our companies, they still come, they laugh about stuff. No? That's why people leave the room. No? I would have left the room 15 years ago, to be honest. No?
Yeah.
But this is more like we try to convince them and they see the benefits and then they're on board. No?
Sure, because you put on the screen here, change the world. Right? And it sounds like, the future will be wonderful and all of this. But you're actually doing it day by day, right?
Definitely we do it. And like I said, the smart data is not us. No? Smart data I see as a category. And we even created our own competition. No? Because it needs to be competition. But for me, it's more like make data accessible for everyone. And it's not just us. No? We don't need to own it like Salesforce doesn't own SaaS. No? But I think it will happen automatically if we believe it or not.
I was going to say, how do you get other companies to do it?
I mean, like I said, I consult one of the biggest banks here in Europe on culture change. Kyle and me doing so there are a lot of people following us, no? Like startups, the co-creation space, and we have big corporates. Now we have the biggest corporate clients in the world. We work with small startups, and this keeps us fresh and excited. No?
I think it's the future. Let's get a couple of questions in. Where do you see the balance between autonomy and self-development and companies' objectives? The balance between autonomy and... Yeah?
I mean, I think the balance lies within, how, let's say, how forward-thinking are you as a corporation? You need to have, obviously, some sort of alignment, as I said. So this aligned autonomy isn't just a phrase that sounds nice. It's really, you need to go into the shit of things with each and every individual and have that discussion and say, this is what needs to be done. This is what you want to do. And I think the balance lies in the fact that you have to have a vision, you have to have a roadmap, and you have to reverse engineer that to where you are in present day. And it's not about having just this objective or these OKRs. It's about having both the empowerment for the person that are aligned with those OKRs and then co-creating and finding that balance.
I love this question.
It's a good question.
I like this question.
The next one?
Yeah.
Take it.
It's called in your utopian scenario, what would you do with all the useless data? Now keep it, delete it, or something else. No?
Define useless.
No, but I think that's a really interesting thing because that's the only reason why the US companies are winning again. No? When you see a US bank, they left like focusing on cleaning up the mess. No, they moved on. They just say, let the garbage be garbage, let's focus on the new. The European mindset and the DACH culture is, we need to fix this first. No? We need to migrate everything. But I'm afraid that we are running out of the business, no? And so this is basically what I say. It's really pure culture. It's a perspective. What is useless? Maybe you need it later, not just let it be and explore it later when you need it, and don't be overpossessed with processes and architecture. No?
Yeah.
So this is basically
because useless is relative. I mean,
for me, maybe it's useless. For you, maybe it's your life. No. So this is just a perspective. Data is always a perspective, like privacy.
So you mentioned. Vienna, where you're starting up. How can they meet you today? Where are you?
Maybe here at the booth.
We're right across from Microsoft. I think everyone in this room has probably had our delicious coffee. And whether or not you were actually interested in learning about us, I hope you enjoyed your coffee, and it was great to meet you.
Good coffee. And can they have your slides?
Sure, we can post them. But I think it's anyway done. They record it, and then the slides are included.
That's good.
The guy
All
asked
right.
it 3 times. He liked the slides, probably. No?
I
Thanks,
like
man.
the slides.
Okay, man.
Okay, guys.
Thank you
Stefan,
so much.
Kyle, thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Warm round of applause. Great. Excellent. Take your laptop.